Hello everyone, welcome to the remote working series. I'm Francesco and this is a series all about the world of remote working. Now, in today's feature, we'll be discussing sort of the concept of daily distractions in the remote working role and how to sort of combat them. Just before we get started, I wanted to thank Hive for sponsoring this series. Hive is a project management resource that teams can use to get more productive across their day. Hive is used by thousands of teams across the world and has a real awesome amount of features, everything from integrated chat, project views, project templates, to hundreds of other available integrations. Now, the lovely team at Hive have given me 10% off for you guys for a Hive subscription, so go and check that out in the description below, and I also will add a video all about how Hive works and my sort of thoughts and review on it. So when it comes to distractions as a remote worker, there are plenty of them. Distractions are available at any given time. You can go to Netflix, you can spend too much time in bed, you can wake up a little later, things like that. There's not too many people calling you out on this sort of stuff. So you need to be, one, accountable, and two, very persistent to what you want to do. Because the better you are in the role and more available you are, the more likely you are to continue your remote working role. So a few recommendations for you guys that I think you will find valuable. So let's start with the start of the day, and in the morning, obviously there are temptations to be able to lie in because you don't have that commute. That is a great thing, actually, being able to not be able to commute, because it does save potentially 20 minutes to an hour of your day. Now, as a remote worker, I think if you are someone who appreciates a little longer in bed, maybe 15 to 20 minutes more is absolutely fine to counteract that remote working and not having the ability to commute. The other thing I would do is make sure to get and understand when your workday starts. I normally start my workday about 8 to 8:30, and I normally have that as a fixed situation. I have a strong morning routine, and then I go straight into the workday with no distractions. So that's my sort of sign off and way that I know that I'm going to be in there. Now, when it comes to the end of your day, that's very valuable as well, making sure that you know when to switch off everything, because when you're in an office, everyone goes home, everyone physically leaves the situation and goes out. But when you're remote and at home, it's very difficult to do that. So mentally shut off time, maybe even 5 PM is your shut off time, 4:30, or whatever time you've agreed with your company. Now, obviously, avoiding distractions, there are lots of different distractions, the likes of just getting up and getting a cup of tea or a drink. What I recommend doing is plotting your time out and working out how your sort of distraction levels work. What I do for myself is I use something occasionally called the Pomodoro technique. That's a 25-minute timer of intense work and a 5-minute break. This way you can use 25 minutes to make intense work and then go for a 5-minute break, grab a cup of tea, grab a refreshment or something like that. And that way you've defined your intensity of work. Now, you can modify that to whatever you like. So maybe it's 50 minutes on and 10 minutes off at the end. But it gives you a way to plan in some of your break time and relax time, because you can just grab that moment and quickly go and grab that refreshment so that you're not continually getting up and going out. The next thing as well is you've got that distraction of Facebook and a couple of other sites, and not many people looking over your shoulders to see whether you're on track. Now, there are plenty of sites out there that help you block this. I will put some of them in the description below, but they will help you block out some of the popular sites. Now, it's a little bit harder when you're in something like marketing or social media, because you have to technically have access to those sites like Facebook and Twitter and things like that. But I think you just have to act with caution here. Make sure that you, in those 10 minutes of time, that you do separate out for yourself to spend all of the time maybe on social media and get it all out of your system and then get back to work. The next thing as well is I have this situation as well in coffee shops. If I go and work in a coffee shop or I'm in town, I might bump into a friend or see someone that I know, and I'm like, okay, how do I do this politely by saying that I've got to do this? The one thing that I would recommend doing is keep some headphones on you at all times. If you're gonna remote work in a coffee shop, you need to be fully locked in. So, if you work well with headphones or you work well with music, that's a high recommendation. I always use headphones to keep myself away from any distractions when you're sort of getting things done. The same sort of applies as well if you're getting a call from a friend. I tend to not take any personal calls during the day. or if I do, I will call them back at lunchtime just to avoid any distraction in my workday. So that's another recommendation as well. Just make sure you're either planning in your distractions or even just making sure they're comfortably planned in for later. So of course, you know, there are a lot of benefits to when you are at home and you've got those no distractions. I personally enjoyed being at home with no one in the in an office situation, because I can just not have to worry about anybody coming in necessarily. I just have to wait for something to nudge me on Slack or things like that. So I can sort of plan in time that I spend on email communication, things like that. So being able to work remotely does have its benefits. I know some people don't work like that, so just make sure that you understand whether that's for you or whether it is something that you feel comfortable with. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. In the next feature, we're going to be talking about why you would consider remote work and how to get started. I'm really looking forward to that feature. I just want to thank Hive as a last minute mention. Hive are sponsoring this series. I will include all of the 10% off discount to Hive. Hive is a project management resource that I think you and your team can use, and it's very selective and beneficial for remote workers and teams as well. Anyway guys, make sure to have a great day, keep productive, and I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers.